I'm joined by Jennifer McCoy from Atlanta via Skype. She's a professor of political science at Georgia State University. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I want to begin by asking you about the legitimacy and fairness of this election to have a, to be able to rewrite the country's constitution. What is your take?
I would consider this completely illegitimate because, one, there was no referendum before the vote to ask if the people even want a new constitution or a body to write it. And two, because of the way it was set up, the vote is not a one-person, one-vote situation at all. Instead, it is to elect one representative for each town and city in the country, no matter the size. And so obviously that's a disproportionate vote in favor of smaller towns where the government has more influence and support, and unfavorable to the large cities where the opposition is controlled. And finally, it has some members who will be named by various organizations, and so only the people in those organizations can vote. So it's not a normal election at all. But primarily, it is an attempt by the government, they say, to bring peace to the country after months of conflict. And since it was not consulted with the opposition or agreed upon, it cannot serve that purpose.
Well, President Maduro said the new assembly would promote reconciliation and peace. How exactly may he rewrite the Constitution and make that happen and to achieve those broad goals?
Well, it can't really promote reconciliation when only one side is represented in it. The opposition has boycotted. The numbers I'm seeing so far, estimates of turnout, is only about 20%. So the 7.5 million that Steve Gibbs was mentioning, people are estimating maybe 3 million voted today. We'll have to see what the government reports. But it's hard to tell because there also were not controls on the voting to prevent people from voting more than once. They could vote anywhere in any district in their cities. So it'll be hard to, the vote itself was not very transparent. So I don't believe it can serve as a reconciling body because it only has one side, unless there are negotiations starting tomorrow to change that situation and to start a true negotiation with international mediation.
We have seen in the past few months this political turmoil further dividing Latin America. Some U.S.-leaning Latin American countries, such as Colombia, Mexico, and Panama, criticized the President Maduro, calling the election illegitimate, as you have called it, while some other countries, such as Ecuador, Cuba, and Bolivia, especially Bolivia's President Evo Morales, are very vocal and very supportive of Maduro, saying that he was a democratically elected president a few years ago, and now he's using a democratic process to elect a new assembly. So has this situation in Venezuela further divided Latin America?
No, it was divided already, in large part because of Venezuela and because of Hugo Chavez's foreign policy. One, to promote a particular ideology, which some countries like Bolivia, Ecuador, and Nicaragua followed, and two, by using petroleum revenues as what they call petrodiplomacy, to get allies, particularly in the Caribbean and those other countries, Bolivia, Nicaragua, et cetera, with cheap oil being offered. So the country has been the hemisphere has been polarized for about 15 years, but increasingly more and more countries are speaking out now against the abuses in Venezuela. So we're definitely seeing a trend, and several, as you mentioned, now including Argentina, Colombia, Panama, have said they will not recognize the results of this election or respect any decisions taken by this new body.
Jennifer McCoy from Georgia State University, thank you for your analysis.
Thank you.